They said Mohamed Salah was finished. They said the transfer was a mistake. They questioned whether the Liverpool legend could still deliver at the highest level. That was the conversation in Turkey just days ago. Now, they're saying something very different. Because Salah has just scored twice, nearly added 2 more, and led Trabzonspor to their first win of the season. And the Turkish media have made a spectacular U-turn. But to understand just how dramatic that U-turn was, we have to go back to the beginning. The signing itself was a statement of intent from Trabzonspor. This wasn't just another aging star looking for one last payday. This was Mohamed Salah, the Egyptian king, the man who redefined Liverpool's modern era, shattered Premier League records, and carried an entire nation on his shoulders in World Cup qualifiers. And he arrived in Trabzon with a reputation that preceded him, along with expectations that were simply off the scale. Think about the context. Trabzonspor are a club desperate to reclaim their place at the top of Turkish football. They've been in the shadow of Galatasaray, Fenerbahce, and Besiktas for years. Their last Super League title came in the 2021-22 season, but they've struggled to maintain that consistency. Bringing in a player of Salah's caliber wasn't just about goals. It was about changing the entire mentality of the club. It was about showing Europe and the rest of Turkey that Trabzonspor means business. And for the fans, it was a dream come true. The streets of Trabzon were flooded with claret and blue jerseys bearing the number 11. The excitement was palpable. Then came the football. His debut came off the bench in a 1-1 draw against Kasımpaşa. A quiet introduction, nothing flashy. A few touches, a couple of runs, but nothing that would make the highlight reels. The fans were patient. They understood it takes time to settle into a new league, a new country, a new tactical system. Then came his first start, the Europa League playoff first leg against Ferencváros at home. The Akyasi Stadium was rocking. The atmosphere was electric. The fans were desperate for a moment of magic. Instead, Trabzonspor lost 1-0, and the narrative shifted instantly. The Turkish media, known for their intensity and their brutal honesty, did not hold back. They are some of the most passionate and unforgiving football journalists in the world. They don't do patience. They don't do excuses. They demand instant results, especially from a player with a Ballon d'Or level resume. Some outlets suggested that the Egyptian was far from his glory days. They questioned whether the transfer was already a mistake. They called his start disappointing and said he had failed to meet the incredible expectations placed upon him. Others were more measured, arguing that it was still early and he would reach his true potential in the coming weeks. But the doubt was loud. The pressure was mounting. For the first time in a long time, Mohamed Salah was being written off. You could see it in the headlines. You could feel it in the fan forums. The whispers started. Is he past his prime? Did Liverpool know something we didn't? Was this going to be another cautionary tale of a European star fading in the Turkish sun? That kind of noise can break a lesser player. It can destroy confidence and create a toxic environment. But Salah is not a lesser player. He's a serial winner. He's a fighter. And he was listening. Then came the moment that changed everything. Sunday, Trabzonspor versus Istanbul Başakşehir. Papera Park, the second week of the Super League. This was Salah's first league start for Trabzonspor, and from the very first whistle, something felt different. There was an energy about him, a sharpness in his movement, a fire in his eyes. 8 minutes in, the ball breaks to Salah inside the box. But let's pause and break this goal down properly because it wasn't just a tap in. It was a goal that showcased every ounce of his remaining world-class ability. He receives the ball with his back to goal, which is a difficult position for any attacker. Most players would lay it off or try to win a foul. Not Salah. He uses his body to shield the defender, creates a yard of space with a subtle shimmy, opens his hips, and without even looking at the goal, he fires a clinical left-footed strike into the far corner. The precision is ridiculous. The composure is immense. The stadium erupted. His first goal in a Trabzonspor shirt, and the relief on his face was visible. He ran to the corner flag, arms outstretched, soaking in the adoration. But he wasn't done. 48 minutes. A beautiful team move unfolds. This time, it's more of a team goal. The midfield strings together a series of quick passes, pulling the Basaksehir defense out of shape. The ball finds Salah in space, running into the inside left channel. He takes one touch to set himself, and another to produce a composed, side-footed finish that nestles into the bottom corner. 2 goals, 3 points, first league win, and suddenly, the conversation in Turkey changed. It wasn't just the goals. It was the performance, the movement off the ball, the way he dragged defenders out of position to create space for his teammates, the quality of his first touch, the sharpness of his decision-making. The Liverpool version of Mohamed Salah had seemingly found his way to the Black Sea coast. One Turkish outlet noted that Salah started scoring the kind of goals he used to score for Liverpool in the claret and blue shirt. The comparisons were inevitable and entirely justified. But here's the part that makes this performance truly legendary. Salah could have finished the night with 4 goals. 2 counted, 2 were ruled out. Let's talk about those disallowed goals in detail, because they tell you everything about his mindset. In the second half, he latched onto a through ball, rounded the goalkeeper, and slotted into an empty net. The celebration began. The fans went wild, and then the referee's whistle went. The flag was up for a foul in the build-up. It was a soft call, a marginal decision, but it was disallowed. Any other player would have dropped his head. Any other player would have started sulking. Not Salah. He just jogged back, clapped his hands, and got ready for the next attack. Then came the moment that would have been goal of the season, possibly goal of the decade. In stoppage time, he spotted the Basaksehir goalkeeper off his line, miles out of position. From nearly 50 yards out, he attempted an audacious, jaw-dropping lob. The trajectory was perfect. The dip was exquisite. The ball sailed over the keeper, bounced once, and rolled into the empty net. It was a goal worthy of winning any match, any competition, anywhere in the world. The stadium went crazy. Salah wheeled away in celebration, pointing to the sky. And then the flag went up. Offside, by the narrowest of margins. The Trabzonspor president reacted in disbelief on the sidelines, throwing his hands in the air. The coach was speechless. The fans were heartbroken. Salah himself just shook his head and smiled a wry smile. He knew he had just produced something special, even if the officials didn't allow it. Think about that. 2 goals on the board. 2 more ruled out. He could have finished the night with 4 goals. Against a strong Basaksehir side, on his first league start. If that doesn't scream statement performance, nothing does. And then the U-turn happened. And it happened fast. The same outlets that were questioning his transfer just days earlier, they couldn't stop praising him. Fanatic, Hurriyet, Spor Arena, and Sporks all shifted their tone dramatically, praising Salah's performance and highlighting the quality that made him a Liverpool legend. The headlines went from skepticism to outright adoration overnight. One prominent pundit, Ahmet Kakar, wrote in his column that Salah is not just a lot for Trabzon. He is actually everything. He added that Salah is rapidly progressing to become one of the most important players in the history of Trabzonspor. Think about that. From being written off in 2 games to being talked about as a club legend in the making. That's the power of a single match. That's the power of a player who refuses to accept mediocrity. The international media also took notice. Marca, the Spanish sports daily, highlighted that Salah left Liverpool as a true legend and, at 34 years old, arrived in Turkey determined to become the king of Trabzonspor. They analyzed his movement, his finishing, and his leadership on the pitch. The Sun, known for their sensationalism, but also their football coverage, showcased his 2 goals and the 2 disallowed ones, emphasizing what he is still capable of producing on any given night. Even the Italian and French press picked up on the story. The narrative was clear: Mohamed Salah is back. So what happened here? Turkish media made an immediate Mohamed Salah U-turn. The love-in after the match was a far cry from their skepticism following his debut. One moment, he was a potential flop. The next, he was a hero. And honestly, the speed of that change tells you everything you need to know about the standard Salah sets for himself. He doesn't accept mediocrity. He doesn't accept doubt. He silences it with pure, undeniable quality. He thrives on the pressure. He feeds on the criticism. It fuels him, and doesn't stop there. Because while all this was unfolding on the pitch, Trabzonspor made another massive announcement that sent shockwaves through the fan base. Fabinho, the Brazilian midfielder, his former Liverpool teammate, signed a 2-year deal and arrived in Turkey, posing in a Trabzonspor shirt. The Liverpool reunion is real. The midfield general who dominated the Premier League and Champions League alongside Salah is now back in the same dressing room. The band is back together. Fabinho spoke about the reunion himself, calling it special and praising Salah's talent, character, and relentless work ethic. He said that having Salah on the pitch makes everyone around him better because he demands perfection. Having that kind of chemistry and understanding in the middle of the park could be the key to unlocking even more from the Egyptian king. Imagine the link-up play. Imagine the quick 1-2s. Imagine the through balls. This is a partnership that conquered England and Europe, and now they're looking to conquer Turkey. Let's talk tactics for a moment, because this is where it gets really interesting. Fatih Tekke, the Trabzonspor manager, has been building his system around Salah since day one. He realized that you don't sign a player like that and force him into a rigid structure. You adapt. You build around him. Against Başakşehir, we saw Salah given a free role. He drifted inside. He hugged the touchline. He dropped deep to receive the ball. He was everywhere, and the Başakşehir defense simply couldn't cope with the movement. Tekke said after the match that Salah is already very important for the team. He called him a true professional on and off the pitch. The manager praised his attitude, his training habits, and his impact on the younger players in the squad. He's not just a star player. He's a leader. He's setting the standard in every single training session. And what about the fans? The Trabzonspor supporters are among the most passionate in Turkey. They fill stadiums. They create atmospheres that rival any in Europe. After the match, social media exploded. Trending hashtags, viral videos of his goals, countless memes praising the Egyptian king. The fan forums that were criticizing him just days ago were now flooded with apologies and renewed hope. His shirt sales have gone through the roof. Children are wearing his number 11. He's already becoming a cult hero in the city. And that connection with the fans is crucial. It transforms a good player into a great one. It gives him the energy to run that extra mile, to fight for that extra second. Let's also put this performance in the context of Turkish football history. Big-name signings don't always succeed in Turkey. Remember Didier Drogba at Galatasaray? He did well, but he wasn't the dominant force he was at Chelsea. Wesley Sneijder, he had his moments, but it was inconsistent. Mario Balotelli? A disaster. Mauro Icardi? He eventually came good, but it took time. But Salah? He's hit the ground running in a way very few have. He's not just adapting. He's conquering. And that's the difference between a good player and a true great. Greatness travels. Greatness transcends leagues. Greatness is timeless. So what's next for Mohamed Salah and Trabzonspor? The season is still young. There are 36 league games to play. There's the Europa League, where they'll face stronger opposition. There are cup competitions. The challenge is consistency. Can Salah maintain this level week in, week out? Can he stay fit? Can he handle the physicality and the intense schedule? These are the questions that will define his legacy in Turkey. If he continues like this, Trabzonspor aren't just title contenders. They're favorites. They could be the team that breaks the Istanbul stranglehold on Turkish football once and for all. And let's not forget about the Champions League dream. Trabzonspor are in the Europa League this season, but the ultimate goal is to qualify for the Champions League. With Salah and Fabinho in the squad, that target doesn't seem so far-fetched anymore. The European nights are coming. The big games are coming. And this is exactly the kind of stage where Salah thrives. So what do we learn from this whirlwind week in Turkish football? The media wrote Mohamed Salah off after 2 games. 2 games. And he responded with a performance that reminded everyone exactly who he is. Whatever doubts existed after those first 2 appearances, Salah's performance sent a very different message. He hasn't come to Turkey simply to wind down his career. He hasn't come for the sunset. He has come to dominate, to score goals, to lift trophies, and to cement his legacy as one of the greatest footballers to ever play the game. 2 goals. 2 more ruled out. A near-impossible lob from distance that was ruled out for offside. A complete media narrative flip. A reunion with Fabinho. And the president going even further, describing Salah as the greatest Muslim player in the world. All in just 1 week. The Egyptian king has arrived in Turkey. He's faced the early skepticism, he's answered the critics on the pitch, and he's now firmly at the heart of a club with massive ambitions. The Turkish media have learned a valuable lesson this week. Never, ever doubt Mohamed Salah, because he will always make you eat your words. What do you think about Salah's performance? Do you honestly believe he can lead Trabzonspor to the Super League title this season? And was that disallowed lob one of the best goals you've ever seen, even if it didn't count? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss another update on the Egyptian king's journey in Turkey. Share this video with your friends, with any football fan who needs to see that class is permanent. Because this story, it's just getting started. The league is on notice. The fans are dreaming. The manager is planning. And Mohamed Salah, against all the early doubt, is back doing what he does best. Scoring goals, silencing critics, and proving why he is one of the greatest to ever step onto a football pitch. Stay tuned for the next chapter. It's going to be a wild ride.